All right, guys, today's video is going to be all about ramping and docking etiquette. And I'm really going to break it down into two different categories. One will be the preparation of getting your boat ready, getting it off the trailer, tying up to the dock. And the second portion of this video will be the return. So you're coming back from your day out on the water. What do you do as far as etiquette goes to prepare your boat for the dock, get it onto the trailer, and get yourself back home? All right, so as we're approaching the ramp, the first thing we have to figure out is where is the loading and the unloading area. There's a lot of mistakes that happen on these ramps on the weekend, and it's mainly people pulling into that ramping lane and then trying to get out, take their time, load the boat up, and do all that stuff. You guys, that is not the place you want to be. You want to do all of that non-ramping stuff over on the loading and unloading area. Don't put your boat in that ramping lane until you're ready to back it down and drop that boat in. That is a good way to get a bunch of Karens coming up to you or get the ugly looks from everyone. That is honestly that's the business end of this whole operation. But once you're over in the loading and unloading area or just off to the side, completely out of the way, you guys, that's when you can take your time. That's when you can enjoy the moment of putting sunscreen on the kids and getting the dog on board and making sure the cooler's right, putting the drain plug in, taking the straps off the back of the boat, figuring out who's going to back me down the ramp, maybe go over some last minute instructions on how to steer as you're driving the trailer backwards to whoever's putting you in. That's what you do in that loading and unloading area. Also, I want you guys to take a look at the current. You guys, the current plays a huge factor that a lot of new boaters overlooked when they are, one, driving their boat off of that trailer and approaching the dock to tie up. All right, so why is current so important, right? Current controls a lot of things that go on in and around these docks. I can tell you first thing, as soon as you pull your boat off the trailer, if you're mid-current and that current is pushing pretty hard, soon as you get that thing off the trailer, it's no longer in a stable environment, and now the water's going to push it wherever it wants to go. So as you're backing that thing out, you may need to know, hey, I've got a dock piling over here, or hey, I have another boat over here. So when I back out, I may need to get on the gas a little bit to clear all of that as I'm getting swept down the water, down the river, whichever way the current's going. So that's the first thing the current's going to tell you as you're backing your boat off the ramp or off the trailer. Next, you have to remember, guys, you have more control over your boat as far as maneuvering and slowing that boat down if you approach the dock from down current, right? Basically meaning if this is the dock here and current is coming towards my head, you pull your boat off the trailer, it's going to slide back towards my head, right? Because the current's pushing it down the river. Well, once you put it in gear and start turning, you're going to be able to come back to that dock at an angle like this under control because you have the current pushing you backwards. Your motor is pushing you forward. You have a lot more control that way. If you try to do it the opposite way and you're trying to dock, boat, and you're trying to come with the current like this, you guys, you're going to be moving a lot faster than you want. Basically, when you come off of the throttle and put it neutral, it's not going to really slow you down that much. It's just going to kind of keep you at whatever pace the current's moving, and it's a little bit more dangerous. I see guys try to throw their boat in reverse last second, take their dock line and lasso a cleat, and it's just reckless. You can't maneuver your boat if you're trying to go backward. That's why the point on a boat is honestly towards the front. It just makes sense. So do yourself a favor, look and see which way that current is moving. And once you get it off the trailer, come from the down current side, make that turn, and then come back to the top, back to the dock with that current pushing against you. I'm telling you guys, it's going to make it a slow, methodical approach in. You're going to look like you know what you're doing, even if you're brand new to boating. All right, so you've just pulled your boat off the trailer. You just got dropped in. You found a space that you can honestly get out of the way of all the other boaters so you don't get into the whole confusing mess of what a ramp could be on the weekends. You're back out of there, out of the way. Now you have a couple options. If you're a single boater like I am most of the time, realistically, as soon as I pull my boat off of that trailer, I'm going to immediately drift backwards just a little bit, turn my wheel, I'm going to put it in gear, and I'm going to come right up to that dock, and I'm going to tie up to that dock. Now, if you're with a bunch of other people, you may need to just drift back and stay out of the way while someone goes and parks that trailer for you. Let them get, everything they got to do, putting the trailer out of the way, grab their little bit of maybe last minute stuff like a camera or sunscreen that they forgot, And then as they're coming back down to the dock, then you can come out of that area you decided to stay in that's out of the way and creep back over to the dock to go pick them up. Now, one of the things that I want you guys to think about, whether you're a single boater or you're boating with multiple people, is where do you select, or where on that dock do you tie off on? If you're on a smaller dock, like over here in Richmond Hill, where we have kind of smaller dock setups, you guys, you want to pull all the way forward or all the way back. Please don't park in the middle of that dock. Don't tie up in the middle of that dock and hog the whole thing for one boat. It happened to me a couple weeks ago. I'm just thinking, oh my God, where's this guy? I just want to get out of here. And he's over there, you know, just messing around, shooting the shit, talking to friends, and it's just not good etiquette, right? So if you have the ability to come into that dock and you're the first one to it, pull all the way up to the very front. I personally like to go all the way up to the front and tie off to that very first cleat. If it's an area where my fenders will actually touch up against the dock and provide that protection. I'm not a fan of pulling back to the very back of that dock, because as more boaters come in, I don't know how well they are or how proficient they are with driving their boat or docking their boat. And I don't want them to get in here and potentially, fall back or slide back into my boat. Another thing to think about, you guys, this is extremely important. This is a safety concern. When you're approaching a dock and you have people either on the dock waiting to get into the boat, or you have people in the boat while you're getting close to that dock, you have to remember, people cannot reach out and touch that dock. Have their hands inside the boat at all times. A lot of people want to help and reach out and grab that dock for you, but that is where people get injured. I'm an EMT in my career field, and I have run calls to docks where people have lost fingers, they have broken hands, and it's because they're trying to help out. You guys, that is not their job. It is your job as that boat captain to ensure that boat comes in nice and slow, nice and easy to that dock, just barely get up next to it like that, and hold that boat right there while you either grab the rope and tie it off, or instruct them to grab the rope and tie it off. No one should be reaching out for anything, whether they're in the boat or out of the boat. It's a very, very common thing, and that's a great way for someone to get hurt. All right, so you got everyone on the boat, you've given them their safety brief, you've shown them kind of where the life jackets are, you've shown them where the medical equipment bag is, all that safety-minded stuff that you honestly should be doing if you do have some new passengers on the boat. You now got to get off that dock itself. So just go ahead and untie your dock line, but instead of untying it completely, just barely leave it wrapped around a cleat, just so you can keep pressure on the end of a line and it is pulling up against that cleat and it's keeping the boat still in place. So just go ahead and take a look over your shoulder, look and see if there's no one coming, if there's anyone behind you. Go ahead and pop that thing into gear and just let it idle out. Don't idle out under power, just idle out nice and slow. I've seen a lot of people kind of give it too much gas leaving, and then now they're waking everyone's dock and you're getting that ugly look, or maybe Karen's wanting to say something to you. So just barely creep out, and as you start to creep the boat out, take that bow line, go ahead and release it, get it off that cleat, and now you'll drop back into the current and you'll head out and you go do your thing out on the water. Another thing to think about as well, if it's only you and a buddy that's on the boat fishing that day, we're not talking about a giant family where you really need to tie up and let everyone come on board and it's a slow operation. If it's just you and someone else and you're wanting to be kind of quick, there's no sense in tying off to the edge of that dock and just occupying that space. Once you pull that thing off the trailer, just sit and staged over to the side in the river. And then once you see him coming back around, walking down that ramp, stepping onto the dock, that's when you can bring the boat right back over to the dock itself. A lot of times you don't even have to tie a bow line. You can just creep over nice and slow, nice and controlled. He steps on and you just go right back out just like that. And you haven't hogged any dock space. All right, so now we're returning from our day out on the water, whether we were fishing, boating, pleasure riding, whatever it may be. And now we have to get ourselves back on that trailer and then head back to the house, right? So a lot of this stuff is honestly going to be in reverse, but I still want to kind of walk you guys through my routine. So me, fishing solo guy, right? I have to be careful with my stuff. I know people at boat ramps and docks steal stuff. It happens all the time. I've seen trolling motors get taken off the bow of boats. I've seen Yetis get taken off of boats by people just basically cruising by. No one's on that boat. They reach out, they grab stuff, and they take off. It's insane. So what I want to do is I want to safeguard all my stuff before I even get close to that ramp. I'll go ahead and put rods inside my hatches. I'll go ahead and take anything that looks like it could be pilfered or stolen when I'm away from the boat, and I put it in my pockets. I put it away. I lock my hatches I do all that stuff because I can't trust people these days, unfortunately. Then the next thing you have to do, you have to figure out which way the current's moving. So we can go ahead and set those dock lines out. We can set those fenders out. As we approach the dock from upstream or from the downstream heading against the current, we want to again look and see, where is this space that I can park? Do I need to pull in front of someone, behind? Am I the first one to the dock? If so, I'm going all the way to the front, and then I'm going to tie off to the dock. Now, again, you have to remember, if you are approaching that dock with brand new people, even though you might have talked about in the beginning, just give a nice little common courtesy and say, hey guys, just don't reach out for the dock. I got it. And you're good to go. So then you pull up to the dock, you tie off. This is the point when everybody gets off of the boat. Some people want to stay back and linger and hang out with you, but realistically, if you have a party of people on the boat, just go ahead and let everyone get off at this point. It's easier, honestly, to step off of the boat and onto the dock, as opposed to having them climb over the edge of a wet boat at the end of the day when people could possibly be, drinking or intoxicated. You can have some injuries right there last minute. So just go ahead and get everyone off the boat. Makes it a lot less confusing as well. And then let them go back that trailer down. You come off the dock the same way, pull your boat up onto the trailer, put your boat and truck in that loading and unloading ramp. Again, we're not going to just pull straight up and stay right there on that ramp in everyone else's way. Get over to the side, and then that's when you just kind of get your boat ready to take back home. Put your trailer straps on, pull that trolling motor or pull that drain plug. Go ahead and trim your motor up. Get all the stuff off that may blow out, lower your antenna, whatever it may be that you have going on with your boat. Just get it ready to be road ready and to head back to the house. And that's it, guys. Hopefully you got some value out of this. Hopefully I was able to maybe cue you guys in on some things that maybe you weren't doing that I do. Now, what I do and what I talked about today isn't the perfect way. It isn't the best way for everyone. This is honestly just my routine of what I do. If you guys have something that's different than mine, or you have something that I didn't talk about that you do, please feel free to add it down in the comment section below. We can make this a great conversation starter. But I just want to kind of cue some guys in that are brand new to boating, that may not be comfortable or confident with doing these types of things. Just want to kind of shed some light on my routine. So that's all I got. Thanks for the support, you guys. I'll see you on the next video.